Coming up next on the Jeff Crilley Show, you're going to meet the great Dr. Fab Mancini. He's an internationally known speaker and best-selling author. He's going to share his latest book with us next.
Many are predicting that the worst is yet to come, which is unfortunate, said one person here. Until now, they've enjoyed the reputation of being the nation's icebox.
Watched a burglar in his home this morning by webcam.
As a journalist of over 25 years, stories are what make my world turn.
Reporting live from the Dallas newsroom tonight, Jeff Crilley, Fox 4 News.
But in 2008, I took the jump from my familiar life and started a PR firm from my home.
We're talking about anyone with a camcorder like the one I'm using becomes a television network.
We started slowly growing the company, and we now have over 100 clients, and we've branched into the world of live digital broadcasting. I now own 8 different TV studios and have a huge team, and the stories that I now get to share are sometimes the most important of my life. Life has a funny way of coming around full circle. This is the Jeff Crilley Show.
It fascinates me that we live in the wealthiest country on the planet, and we know more about medicine. We spend more on medicine than any other country on the planet, and yet we're sicker and sicker. We're getting heavier. People are wired. They're tired. Why is that? So to talk about that today, a best-selling author and a good friend of mine, Dr. Fab Mancini. Thanks for coming back on the show.
It's so great to see you. Thank you for having me again.
Very cool. We're going to talk about your new book in a second, but I'm sure you would agree with me. I mean, I think you have Western medicine, which is all about a pill, and then you have this perfect blueprint that God made when He created us, which your body can heal itself. So talk a little bit about that.
Well, you know, I was an individual that wanted to be a doctor since I was 16 years old. And I was in a car wreck, and he landed me at Parkland Hospital. And an orthopedic surgeon that I met had told me, you know, I can give you painkillers, I can give you muscle relaxers, but you should really go see my doctor of chiropractic. He picked up the phone, he set up an emergency call for me. I went that afternoon, and I was introduced to what I call the wall of prevention. The doctor of chiropractic told me, in this office, we're going to do 3 things. 1, we're going to be able to tell you and remind you that your body is a self-healing organism. It's already got everything that it needs to heal itself. Number 2, you have 12 systems in the body. One of those systems is the nervous system. That controls and regulates all the other systems, your cardiovascular system, your immunological system, your skeletal system, respiratory system, your digestive system, all of them. And then lastly, he said, you, in this office, we're not going to spend a lot of time in your symptoms. We're going to actually spend most of the time in getting to the root cause of your problem. And I got to tell you, Jeff, for me, that was a revelation. I realized that over 90% of our chronic diseases, right, which is your cancers, heart disease, diabetes, obesity, chronic pain, immunological diseases, these are diseases that, for the most part, science has said that they're preventable and can even potentially be reversed. And this is where I, in 1987, saw that, and I felt it, and I made a conscious decision that I wanted to spend the rest of my life not managing symptoms and not promoting more pharmaceuticals and not necessarily inviting people to do surgery, which the majority of them are not effective. I wanted to spend the rest of my life inspiring and empowering people to make health their number 1 priority and to realize that their bodies have everything they need to heal. Because at the end of the day, your health is your choice.
Much more from Dr. Fab in a minute. I found his sizzle reel from a few years ago. Let's go ahead and roll that.
In an age full of questions, it's reassuring to know that someone has answers. Dr. Fabrizio Mancini opens the door to understanding today's complex and failing healthcare system and provides alternative solutions to achieving better health and wellness, and in turn, a better life. A practiced and proficient presenter, Dr. Mancini is an internationally acclaimed bilingual speaker who adeptly connects with today's audiences, breaking through barriers of confusion and complicated questions, and who easily communicates a simplified response to the demands of living in today's society. Dr. Mancini's love of humanity and learning has garnered him much respect and recognition, including Heroes for Humanity, Humanitarian of the Year, CEO of the Year, and the honor of having one of Mexico's newest leading universities, UNEVE, name their library after him. His service as educator and philanthropist, contributions to numerous publications, history of providing assistance to governmental entities, and his experience as a highly sought-after guest on radio and television programs complement Dr. Mancini's position as an accomplished authority and specialist in the field of health and wellness. Now, universities and other educational institutions, corporate organizations, and media partners are afforded the opportunity to experience what thousands of healthcare professionals and millions of individuals have known for years: the wit, wisdom, and life-changing truths shared by Dr. Mancini.
Ignite your creative part. Great creative. Don't think within the box. Think out of the box. Whenever you're confronted with a challenge, think out of the box. Because everybody else is just reacting like you. And if you're not thinking out of the box, unfortunately, you'll have the same results that you've always gotten.
Dr. Mancini stands ready to bring a message of health and wellness to organizations wanting to train employees, media partners seeking expert advice for their audiences, and educational institutions interested in exposing students and faculty to a better life of wellness and stress-free living. With over 20 years hands-on experience, affecting change and reshaping lives, this talented, capable speaker and engaging expert will motivate and inspire your audience to reach new heights of personal success and enhanced health and wellness. Contact Dr. Fabrizio Mancini to schedule answers to your questions today.
All right, first an observation. That video was made several years ago. I think you got younger since that video. So you practice what you preach.
I actually live my message.
I love that. I love that. Okay, let's talk about your new best-selling book. So Self-Health, and we're going to put the website and the graphic on the screen. This is a follow-up to your best-selling book from a few years ago. So tell us more. What's in the book?
So my international best-selling book, The Power of Self-Healing, was actually my gift to you to be able to remind yourself that your body is self-healing. So I wanted individuals that are always looking for the answers when it comes to the healthcare problems from the outside in to start looking from the inside out. And millions of people across the world loved it, and it actually allowed them to be more empowered. But then I realized that you knowing that all the power is inside of you is not enough. Because right now, we realize that over 90% of the solutions to the chronic diseases come from our lifestyle. It comes from how many hours do we sleep. It comes from the type of foods that we put inside of our bodies. It comes from whether I have a stress management program or allow the distress in my life to take over. It comes from how well connected do you feel in your relationships. All of those things is what I wanted to speak about. And I came up with this concept of self-health because for almost 34 years, I've been a speaker in the self-help movement. But I always realized that in order for me to fulfill my life potential, I needed to fulfill my health potential. So your self-health is my way of saying, look, if you put self-health as a priority in your life, everything else will follow.
All right, let's talk about the vicious cycle. And what I mean by that is a lot of Americans will wake up with a cup of coffee or 2 or 5, and they're getting ramped up and they're under stress. And so they might have some comfort food, including like a Big Mac. And then towards the end of the day, maybe they're having an adult beverage or 2 or 5. And then they're not getting any sleep because the alcohol is interrupting their sleep. I mean, it's just a vicious cycle, isn't it?
And that's where there's a new science that came in a few years ago called epigenetics. And epigenetics is a science that told us that the environment around the cell is the one that dictates what the cell actually does, whether it can function, not function, whether the gene expression will show up or doesn't show up. So for me, the important thing is to realize that our behaviors, our habits, are actually what's dictating pretty much your health today. And if you want to, like, I can give you my own personal example. I had a really hard time working out every single day. Even though I preached it, I talked about it, and I said, exercise is key to your health. Well, it wasn't until about 18 years ago that I was sitting in a seminar and they were doing all of this. And the speaker said, if you want to be consistent with a new habit, make sure you do it first thing in the morning while everybody else is sleeping. So what I did is I started waking up at 5 in the morning, and I would go to the gym by 5:30, and that was my routine. And that first routine, that initiative, set a whole series of habits that I've developed over the last 18 years, but it starts with one choice. And that's really the essence of the book. What I'm saying in the book is that, look, I know that you're going to like your lifestyle the way it is because you're comfortable. But if all of a sudden you feel that you have conditions and symptoms that you're not happy with, and it's decreasing the quality of your life and it's making your life miserable, or you live in pain all day long, who wants to live like that? So what about if we begin to make one better choice today when it comes to your health than you did yesterday? Because at the end of the day, you're the only one in control to be able to heal your body. But if you make one good choice today, what's going to happen is tomorrow you're going to be healthier. But then because you feel healthier, you're going to make another choice. And maybe now you're making 2 choices a day. And then when you make 2 choices a day and you start seeing you're feeling better, other people are noticing, now you're going to make 3 choices. And that's exactly what happened in my life. And the reason that I needed to write this book, especially in today's world where everybody's talking about chronic disease, is 90% of our healthcare costs, and it's the number one reason why over 70% of the American public has gone personally bankrupt every year for the last 7 years.
Wow. Dr. Fab, we're almost out of time. So final thoughts. What do you want to leave people with?
Well, I want you to get this book. And actually, you're going to get the opportunity to get over $1,000 worth of free resources when you go to this page. And the idea behind it is that every single chapter is dedicated and very easy to read. I give you the science, I give you the understanding, but at the end of the chapter, I give you a 30-day challenge, which gives you just very simple things to consider. If you act upon that, if you try to make that challenge or whatever the topic is interested to you, you will see a change in your life.
Outstanding. That's a mic drop moment. So thank you, Dr. Fab, for sharing your heart and your wisdom with us. We're going to end with this website, which is, of course, drfabmancini.com. The great Dr. Fab. Thanks for coming on the show.
Thank you, buddy.
You bet. That's it for now. We'll see you next time.